Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33, and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yeah. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Like this. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Like this. Never say die. Never say die.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, your host and White House correspondent. Not at the White House. Not at the White House today. I'm here in LA enjoying this heat wave. Make sure you are hydrating out there. Hydrate. Make sure you're close to a fan if you're not in an air-conditioned something because this heat wave ain't for the faint. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ. There I am. Also subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way you'll never miss an episode. DC is heavy on my mind, and chances are heavy on your mind. And we want to remind folks to know your rights. Know your rights if you're stopped by the police or the military in Washington, D.C. I think this is important information for all people. But we know that if history is any indication, that the relationship with Black folks and police is fraught. The relationship between Black men and police is fraught. The relationship between Black gay men and the police is fraught. And so know your rights. If you're stopped or questioned, the question, are you free to leave? If yes, walk away calmly. If not, ask if you are under arrest. If asked to search, if they're asking to search you, you can say, I do not consent to a search. Even if they search anyway, your refusal, it protects you legally. And if they ask about your items, personal items, could be your prep, it could be, personal items. These are personal items, and you can speak to a lawyer if needed. You don't have to have a talk about your sexuality, about your partners, about your health. You can invoke your right to remain silent. And if you don't have an ID, you're not required to carry an ID in Washington, D.C., unless you're driving. Now, you may want to look up what the rules are in whatever state you're listening to us in. But in Washington, D.C., you're not required to carry an ID unless you're driving. Give your name and address if required, but never guess or give false information. Yeah, if you're an immigrant, know that you don't have to answer questions about your status, about your birthplace, your entry. You have the right to remain silent. You don't have to show papers unless asked specifically, and you have them. Never lie about your citizenship or use false documents. and know that you may hire a lawyer. That's not provided automatically. You can contact folks like the ACLU for help. If you need legal advice or assistance, you can reach out to ACLU of DC. They have hotlines for people who've been stopped by police or ICE, and a website that offers a lot of helpful information. And if you don't have access to the internet, consider seeking assistance from a trusted friend or a community resource. And so that is our special note to all of you, powered by Global Black Pride. We want to thank them for sharing that, and you can follow them at global_Black Pride on Instagram to catch any and all of that information. Now, it's time for your National News Roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. Kicking us off, Politico is reporting on $50,000 bonuses, reduced age minimums, and Superman. That's how ICE fills its ranks. Wartime-like recruitment posters, sign-on bonuses up to $50K, massive hiring events. It's all been part of the Trump administration's campaign to attract new applicants to ICE. And so far, it's brought in, get this, more than 110,000 applications. That's what ICE Deputy Director Madison Sheehan said in an interview with Politico. 30% of applicants are military veterans, and roughly 10% are coming from other federal law enforcement agencies. The administration is targeting law enforcement recruits. It comes amid fears from Democrats and immigration advocates that the Trump administration is going to rely on unqualified recruits to quickly fill the 10,000 new ICE agent jobs that they got out of the GOP mega bill. Now, if y'all are like me or Brother Andy, you may want to know, what's the racial makeup of these applicants? I think it's important to know. If you're patrolling a community that you have zero immersion in, I'm not just talking about you being of that community. I'm saying if you have zero immersion in a community and you're patrolling it, this isn't just Nii-Quartelai talking. I mean, there's research out there that suggests that chances are you may adopt more of a gladiator mentality when it comes to law enforcement as opposed to a guardian mentality when it comes to law enforcement. That may not end so well. The speed at which the agency executes this surge in agents, it's a delicate balance. Moving too quickly could amplify concerns that the agency didn't thoroughly vet and train new agents at a time when ICE faces mounting scrutiny. But moving too slowly, it could delay the agency's efforts to meet the White House's goal of 3,000 daily arrests and 1 million annual deportations. That's what's happening. And I heard from a source that, the administration is offering folks a great salary. They're offering to forgive federal student loans. They're offering a pretty sweet incentive package to get people hired quickly. And so we're going to keep our eye out to learn anything about the makeup of this surge in ICE agents. But in other news, right here in Los Angeles, y'all see Lil Nas X out there downtown? People magazine is reporting that Lil Nas X was arrested, hospitalized for reported possible overdose while wandering LA streets in his underwear. Lil Nas X was reportedly arrested for the alleged assault of a police officer after law enforcement responded to calls that the musician was naked in the streets of LA. A spokesperson for LAPD told People that officers responded to reports of a man nude in the streets in the 1100 block of Ventura Boulevard just before 6 a.m. Today. The suspect allegedly went on to, quote, batter an officer. So he was booked for battery on a peace officer. The suspect was taken to the hospital for treatment. Once he was released, he will be charged and go through a booking process. And so that is what we have heard. There's some photos out there that we have seen published by TMZ. And so we'll continue to follow this. I'm sure you'll hear a lot more about this with my colleague Jill Monroe in the hour following our program. But sticking with still some of the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day, Serena Williams reveals that she's taken weight loss medication, saying that she doesn't take shortcuts. The tennis champion said today that she's taking weight loss medication after struggling to see results from diet and exercise following the birth of her two daughters. After her daughter Olympia, that's the oldest one, after she was born in 2017, Serena said that she would run and walk for hours to try and lose weight, and that there were other health considerations too. She says diabetes runs in her family, and we know that African-American adults have a higher risk of being diagnosed with it. And she also hoped that losing weight would relieve pressure on her knees. So today she launched a campaign for a company that prescribes GLP-1 medications through telehealth. I think they're called Ro. She launched this campaign to normalize the use of weight loss drugs and to combat the narrative that taking them is the, quote, easy way out. Her husband, Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian, is an investor in Ro and serves on the board. And she joins a growing list of celebs who publicly shared their use of weight loss medications, including Oprah and Whoopi, among others. And so what do you think? I say go, Serena, go. You know, look, anybody that has diabetes or has family or friends with diabetes, you know, or any cardiovascular related health issue, anybody who's lost family members to cardiovascular related health issues, you know, it's nothing to play with. And so, you know, if the drug is safe, if she's doing it under the consult of her doctor, and if she is getting the results that are going to keep her healthy and with us in good health as long as possible, go, sister, go. When we come forward, I'm going to give you another sister to root for. Her name is Cheryl McKissack Daniels, and she's part of a long legacy of some bad brothers and bad sisters. You don't want to miss this story. When we come forward, you're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine before they start. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents on average 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and I love authors. As a first-time author myself, I feel a very special kinship with other authors. I understand the process of telling stories that are worthy of the page. And let me tell you, this book that we're talking about right here is worthy of every single page. The story is worthy of every single page. It's called The Black Family Who Built America, The McKissacks, 2 Centuries of Daring Pioneers, by author Cheryl McKissack Daniels. Welcome to the show, Cheryl.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Well, so glad to have you. So glad to have had a chance to thumb through this really timely book. Talk to us about why you decided to tell the story of your family that spans 2 centuries. Why did you decide to tell the story now?
Well, I have been working on this book since 2003.
Okay.
So I have to say it's coming out now because of God's timing, but it's the best timing. Because this is a time when, the administration that we have wants to erase our history. They want to do away with DEI programs, the very programs that have helped firms like myself and others get off the ground. And it's not right. This book right here is a receipt to say that we have always been here and we're not going anywhere. You may not have noticed Black excellence. That's because you ignored it. But we are here and we're not going anywhere. We have a solid foundation and it's building stronger every day. And that is why this book is important and relevant right now, because everybody can build a legacy. Especially our community needs to do that because our history over time has been erased. Our records, our birth records, our marriage certificates, it's been erased. And so going out now and trying to get that information is more important today than it's ever been. And I believe everyone should try and write their story. Because this is history that we don't hear.
You're right. It's history that we don't hear, and it's history that we think does not exist. When we drive past construction sites from coast to coast, I think we're used to seeing brands like Turner Construction, among others. But we're not socialized to even believe that Black construction companies exist. Talk to us about the challenges that you may still have, where, there are folks that don't think to reach out for certain projects because they presume that you don't have the capacity, that you don't have the experience, that maybe they'll think of you as a subcontractor, but the idea of this Black firm being a prime contractor, it flies over people's heads. Talk to us about that experience.
Absolutely. Well, first I want to say, I love the fact that you drive by a construction site and you even notice it. Because most people do not. That is why we have started our campaign, Who Built This? Because so many people walk into airports, churches, schools, hospitals. They drive by, highways that are being built and bridges, and no one says, well, who built this? And let alone who would think, like you said, a Black firm built this. And so, yes, the challenges are real. The stigmas are real. They still exist. You will read in my book about all of the struggles and hard times that my grandfather, my great grandfather, what they had to go through back in their era, just to administer their craft. They went through harder times than we're going through right now. I mean, they went through slavery, Jim Crow, civil rights, and so when I look at what's happening right now today, I think to myself, if they can overcome that, then we can overcome this administration and what they're trying to do. I mean, after all, we only have to last another 3 more years. And we have 230 under our belt.
That's right. I mean, it's a very sobering reminder that we have been through the worst of times.
Yes.
And for a number of folks in our community, this certainly feels like the worst of times. And so the idea that it could be even worse than this, I think, is an idea that may be hard for folks to hold at the moment. But you've mentioned this administration, a number of times. And I want to give you an opportunity to make clear for folks what difference a consciousness around diversity, equity, and inclusion, what that really means. I think some folks are very wedded to whatever the initiative is, whatever the DEI initiative is. And in my view, whether you call it DEI or you call it supplier diversity or whatever, to me, I think we should be more wedded to the outcomes as opposed to, whatever the acronyms that create the mechanism to allow that to happen. And so talk to us about what difference it has made for McKissack and McKissack under your leadership, under the leadership of your predecessors, having people in positions of power and influence and authority that are checking for a Black firm.
Sure. Well, let me start by saying that DEI programs are not handouts. They're not charity. Not at all. We don't need charity. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a level playing field where the opportunities are equitable across the board for all people. And that has not been the case. Because if it were the case, you would not see these large construction companies continue to grow exponentially, where you see Black and Brown owned construction firms not grow at all or go out of business. So it is not an equitable playing field. And that is what these programs do. Now, let me be clear that the McKissacks go back 230 years, way before these programs were in place. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I am the first generation that actually utilized these programs in New York State. And when I came to New York, my strategy was to work with the largest agencies in the state. And the way to do that was to get a minority women-owned business designation. It really just opens the door for you to seek an opportunity. It does not give you anything. And so that is how I really started our branch office in New York. And I was able to grow it to the point where, we're no longer eligible for the DBE program, which is disadvantaged, which is a federal designation. And New York State has done a great job in making sure that it elevates its program with the times and with the economy that we're in. So, these programs, they have income thresholds, they have personal net worth thresholds. And so it's sort of like you can be in these programs, but they want you to stay small. They don't want you to grow and, become a real competitor in the playing field, in the market. And so there's a chapter in my book called Too Small to Be Big and Too Big to Be Small. Okay. And so it addresses this very problem that we have. Because the bottom line is I'm still a Black woman, whether I have a designation that says I'm that or not. You can look at me and see that. And so when I walk into a room with my competitors, I am usually the only woman and definitely the only Black woman. And I'm not expected to lead or contribute or to bring value because of the mindset that people have. And so these programs have somewhat leveled that playing ground. And so that is why they are important. It's not taking away from other majority firms, because that's another thing that you hear. Oh, if a Black person gets this position, then it was at the detriment of a white person or the detriment of someone else. Well, that's not the case at all. If you look at who is paying taxes, you look at our pension funds, and you want to be fair, then you should say whatever the percentage is of Black people, Hispanic people, white people, that's where the contract should go. Right? But that's not how it's happening. We have $69 trillion of venture capitalist money, and only 1.2%, less than 1.2% go to firms of color. Yet these are state pension funds that are the majority of the money. Okay, so that just shows you right there, it is not a level playing field. I mean, it shows up in who gets killed in this country. Right? Shows up in who gets accepted into universities and who gets hired and who gets fired. It's all across the board. So
the audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Former Vice President Kamala Harris is launching a 15-city international tour for her memoir, 107 Days, out September 23rd. The tour begins in New York, includes U.S. stops, heads to London, and wraps in Miami in November. The book details her 2024 presidential run after Biden exited the race. Rapper Lil Nas X is receiving treatment after being hospitalized in Los Angeles Thursday morning. Witnesses say he was seen walking in the middle of a busy street wearing only underwear and cowboy boots, leading some to call police about a possible overdose. TMZ reports officers say he could still face charges. And a new political poll shows California Governor Gavin Newsom leading former Vice President Kamala Harris by 6 points in the 2028 Democratic primary race. Analysts say his strong opposition to Trump may be driving support. Harris still resonates with voters, but faces questions about her viability. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
tough rolling on the 5. We're going to start northbound out of Norwalk, leaving make that Imperial Highway. Delays and stretches towards Rosemead, and then more slowing in Boyle Heights from the 60 and stretches all the way to Alameda in Burbank. The southbound side of the 5 slowing out of Burbank from just about Olive and stretches back to the 605. In La Crescenta, the 210 westbound slowing from the 2. There's a crash ahead just past Latuna Canyon Road. That's the culprit of those delays. And the eastbound side of the 210 delays out of Pasadena from Mountain in stretches towards Citrus.
San Diego's events calendar is full of flavor. Dig into local wine and food festivals, treat the family to kid-inspired deals all October, and get a taste of glory at the Breeders' Cup World Championship. Plan your trip now at sandiego.org/awesome all year. Funded in part with City of San Diego Tourism Marketing District Assessment Funds.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Tickets are on sale for the Las Vegas HBCU Classic between Grambling and Jackson State. It's the first ever HBCU football game in Vegas. The game is Saturday, October 25th at Allegiant Stadium, home of the NFL Las Vegas Raiders. 3 p.m. kickoff. Tickets are available on Ticketmaster or the Allegiant Stadium website. There will be at least 7 African Americans competing in this year's U.S. Open tennis tournament in New York City. 5 women and 2 men. The tournament kicks off on Sunday. On the women's side, Coco Gauff, the number 3 player in the world, Venus Williams, Madison Keys, Taylor Townsend, and Sakia Vickery. In the men's bracket, Ben Shelton, ranked number 6 in the world, and Francis Tiafoe. 2 NFL preseason games on the schedule today. Pittsburgh at Carolina on the NFL Network, and New England at the New York Giants on Prime Video. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33 and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yay! Thinking about going electric? Now is the perfect time. Electric vehicles cost less to run, don't need gas, and need fewer repairs than gas-powered cars. You can also save with federal and state tax credits, and in some areas, qualify for rebates on home charging stations. To learn more, visit www.breathesocal.org. That's www.breathesocal.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me.
National news of consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are extremely important. And it's really creates like a watchdog. A watchdog to say, you know, let's be somewhat fair to everyone.
Right. And that is a big part of what is at stake. I really appreciate you sort of laying that out in very practical terms, because we throw around these acronyms, this alphabet soup, people get lost, you know, but yes, there are, programs out there that exist to support minority business enterprises, but there are limitations on these programs. There have always been limitations on this program, in these programs. And, you know, a lot of folks, you know, are very quickly sort of pushed out of this program because, you know, to your point, their personal net worth grows, their income grows, and suddenly they're ineligible. And so this idea that folks are just sort of eating from the DEI trough in perpetuity, that's just not the reality. But, you know, I also want to give you an opportunity to weigh in on something that I think Oprah Winfrey said during an interview where she talked about being underestimated, and how she found being underestimated to be, you know, a part of a superpower, right? You know, walking in the rooms where, you know, the folks in there don't look like you. The folks down the hall don't look like you, but you using that to your advantage. Can you talk about how you've been underestimated, or if you've been underestimated in your industry, and what that's meant for your career and continuing the legacy of McKissack and McKissack?
I sure can. Unfortunately, I've had to experience that quite often. You know, there's a chapter in my book called Financial Clearance. And I talk about a project that we were pursuing with an agency in New York City. And we competed outright and we won. And we won based on the staff that we were bringing to the project and our proposal and our presentation. But the powers to be did not want to give us the project. So now they created another requirement called financial clearance. Now, at the time, this was 15 or more years ago. At the time, we had a line of credit of $2 million that was available. And they told us we did not pass financial clearance.
Excuse me?
Yeah, they said we did not pass financial clearance and took the job from us. And they gave it to a larger white-owned firm, of course. And later, they came back with a smaller procurement of the same type of services, which was really just staffing. Basically, you're providing staff to go work on their projects. So we're not even talking about construction where I'm holding contracts and I have subcontractors and I have a, you know, $20-30 million project to build. No, we're talking about just taking staff onto a project. So we, of course, won that. But later, I'm on the train with the owner of the company they gave the project to. And he says, Cheryl, I'm like, yeah, hey, how you doing? He said, I'm great. He said, but what they did to you was terrible and they were wrong. And no one's ever heard of that damn financial clearance before. I was like, and as a result, he and I developed a good relationship and he put me on the next project with him, which was Penn Station, right, in Manhattan. So, you know, of course, we deal with that. I've had developers come into my office. They want to use my track record at a agency. They've never worked there before. And they want to give me 10% of the project, and they want to take 90%. And then they want to put my name first and their name second. And I'm like, I have seen this movie, okay? I have seen this movie, and I am not doing it.
That movie, the sequel, the trilogy, it ain't it. And
I played every character.
Right? Unfortunately, across industries, that is still the story that people want to tell. When we come forward, I want to give you an opportunity to separate the fact from the fiction when it comes to developers. Developers don't always have the best reputation. They don't always have a reputation for looking out for community interest. Clearly we have a developer as commander-in-chief. Case point number one. When we come forward, I want to give you an opportunity to separate the fact from the fiction. I also want to delve into a story that you write about in this extraordinary book that's been a long time coming. It's called The Black Family Who Built America, the McKissacks, 2 centuries of daring pioneers. We're talking to one of them right now. More when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
JP Morgan Chase offers tips for the local business owners in 2025. Small business landscape is ever changing, and the Los Angeles market is no exception. A startup or legacy business, revisiting your mission statement and recalibrating offerings can renew opportunities for growth and innovations. Programs like Chase for Business Coaching for Impact gives entrepreneurs access to expert guidance, helping you streamline operations, strategize your growth, and navigate complex challenges. Businesses with a clear sense of purpose can navigate any challenge effectively, but also build stronger customer loyalty. Visit chase.com/coaching for impact for more information. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah. The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and she is Cheryl McKissack Daniel. She's the author of this really extraordinary new book, The Black Family Who Built America, the McKissacks, 2 Centuries of Daring Pioneers. What I love so much about this book right here, which is available, is that it corrects the record. I think so many folks have preconceived notions about who we are as Black people, what we can achieve, what we have achieved. And a lot of folks think that, Black folks they haven't given us our proper credit in terms of being innovators and pioneers over the years. And so as folks seek to erase our history, as folks look to whitewash exhibits in museums, this book right here, it sets the record straight. It sets the record straight. And I hope folks will go out and get it. Speaking of setting the record straight, Cheryl, separate the fact from the fiction when it comes to developers. They don't have the best reputation in community. I mentioned the president who spent years as a developer himself. We know that in the city of Los Angeles, you had, big developers spent almost $100 million trying to defeat Karen Bass, who won the race for mayor. Talk to us about what what you've experienced as a developer. Talk to us about what's real and what's not.
Well, I have to say that is a very wealthy class of people. So, when you have money, you have control and power. And the developers in New York, they have to have a lot of grit, innovation, and they need to have deep pockets and serious money and capital to build in New York City. And so sometimes developers get a really bad rap because they have this initial idea of what it is they want to build, but then, they have to go out and sell it. They have to sell it to all the politicians, to the union, to contractors like myself, to banks. If it's the investment banks on Wall Street or commercial banks, they still need the support of all of these different entities to get their development off the ground. So oftentimes, it starts with them getting the land, entitlement to the land, right? And then they lock that up while they go do the rest. So, because the whole cake is not baked at one time. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times ingredients start sliding away. And so they can't finish. So the next thing you know, it's been 3 or 4 years. Some people have invested, they lose their money. Contractor like me, we've helped them, with their original estimating, and a designer has helped with design. They don't get paid. And so I think every developer has probably been through that. Mm-hmm. And I have seen this up close and personal with development associates of mine that happens to be Black. So if you think a white developer has a hard time, a Black developer really has a hard time, even if their heart, mind, body, and soul is in the right place. So I look at developers differently. Now, we have some developers, like the one who's currently president, mm-hmm. where their intent is to clip everyone at the end of the job. So they're going to get their project off the ground, but they know they're not going to pay the last 10%, 20% of everybody's invoice. And so to me, that is, that's not integrity. That is not doing what developers need to do. So I'm sure a lot of people have heard about the number of contractors that went out of business or, did not get paid from this administration, the president.
That's right.
But, we need developers because they pull together the entire project.
Yeah, we need them, but we got to keep eyes on them.
Got to keep eyes on them.
When left to their own devices, as you mentioned, this is a very wealthy class of individuals, and so they may not necessarily have malintent, but because they are a part of this super wealthy class, in my view, it seems that they have to work a little harder to be connected to everyday people. And the needs of everyday people, of working class people, and so I think that's a part of the secret sauce of your firm, McKissack and McKissack. No?
Yes, I mean, and there's a chapter in there. The first chapter is about building the Brooklyn Arena with Bruce Radner, who is a huge developer in New York City. But Bruce really wanted to do the right thing. He really wanted to involve the community in which he was building in. And so that's why he was successful in getting that off the ground. But even Bruce had his hiccups. And, the stop and start of that project is very interesting. I mean, it got to the point where it was so expensive, he had to go get a German, a Russian oligarch to contribute to his project. And so, it's a huge gamble. And I often, look at these developers, I'm like, I don't know if I could do what they do. What we do is we invest as a passive investor on development projects, but we're not the developer, because that is, you just don't know where it's going to land.
Yeah.
It's very risky.
It's very risky. It's very risky. I get that. Your family's fingerprints have been left all across the United States. I was taken aback learning that your family's fingerprints span from Reconstruction to contemporary times here in the United States. Your family's worked on projects like the Morris Memorial Building, the Capers CME Church, the John F. Kennedy International Airport, Philadelphia's Lincoln Financial Field. I mean, these are major projects. And I think most people would be surprised to learn that a Black family dating back centuries had a hand in making these projects happen. How do you reconcile your family's contribution to building a more perfect union, literally, with what's been reported in the New York Times and other outlets, where President Trump is accusing the Smithsonian of focusing too much on how bad slavery was and not enough on the brightness of America as his administration conducts these wide-ranging reviews of the content and museum exhibits?
Well, he is not going to get away with that. And it is the epitome of insecurity to want to erase our history. And you can try and get rid of it, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. So, I mean, I don't even understand the psyche behind it. But I would like to call Black people to action. And I'd like to say, listen, we can keep our museum without the federal government if we band together, right? If it's $1 here, $10 there, $20 there, if we came together, we could keep our museum. And we need to keep our museum right there on the mall. I am very concerned about this. And fortunately, we recently donated all of our artifacts to the museum, the African American Museum of History. Why? Because we kept losing them. But now this museum will carry our information in perpetuity and preserve it for future generations to come. And we all need to do that. We all need to understand that this museum is going to preserve who we are way into the future. And so we cannot let anything happen to this museum. And this administration is so far off base. I mean, it's sad. It's just sad. I get it. I can understand why they don't want to talk about slavery, but it doesn't matter. It happened. And it's always going to be a topic. And so we need to move on. We need to move on as a country, and we do need to become a more perfect nation. And by the way, one of our projects that my mother will be upset if I don't mention is the Tuskegee Air Force Base, which my grandfather designed and built. And that's where the Tuskegee Airmen flew from, the Red Tails. You know, that was a totally different day. That was under Franklin D. Roosevelt. And Eleanor Roosevelt came to the Tuskegee Air Force Base and actually flew with the Tuskegee Airmen. You know, so we are going backwards with this administration. And it really, it's upsetting and it's embarrassing. Now, I want to know if you heard this, but I heard that at one point they were considering naming the commanders the Red Tails.
I did not hear that. I
Okay. I think that would have been so poetic and poetic justice.
Yeah, no, I heard it here first. Heard it here first from you.
Okay.
We heard that first, and we heard so many other things from her first. Let me tell you something. The Black family who built America, Run, Don't Walk, to go pick that up. Our thanks to author Cheryl McKissack Daniels. That is, it's an incredible story, and it's a reminder. It's a reminder that we have been able to do hard things, and we've been able to emerge from hard times. She is living proof of that. My thanks to the entire village helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. My thanks to our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, to our sound engineer, brother Andy, to our show producers, Faraji and Art and Journey, and of course, to each and every one of you, all of our leaders, learners, and listeners. We curate the show every day, every week with you in mind. We hope that you have enjoyed. Remember, don't panic, organize. Do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Corte, and you've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.